Saxton Bureau are one of the largest speakers bureaus in Australia. We have a presence in Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Auckland and Manila currently. 35 staff or thereabouts, and the company's been operating this is our 50th year. The IT systems are critical to our business. We don't operate on a geographic basis, so our staff in Perth, for example, is dealing nationwide as our Melbourne and Sydney staff, and also across the Tasman with New Zealand. So having a reliable and efficient IT side of the business is critical. Primarily, we had an unstable VoIP phone system, which, despite considerable effort from our part and also the IT provider at the time, weren't able to get to the bottom of the issues. And we were also, just from a server and provider structure as it was fairly disjointed. And yeah, we were able to have a much, I'll say, cleaner structure and also resolve the issues through developing the relationship with ProNet. Yeah, changing providers was a major decision that we had to assess. It was, we did a lot of groundwork and we're very specific in what we wanted from a future IT provider. It was probably a 12-month process of just looking at what providers could provide us, and many of them could provide us some of what we required, but weren't able to provide the full scope of our needs. We also found that with a number of other IT providers that we approached, they weren't interested in us as a client on the basis of they didn't have the expertise to resolve or manage the VoIP issues. One of the conditions we were looking at from a provider to come on board was to resolve the VoIP issues we had prior to signing any long-term agreements with that company, because we wanted to know that our services were going to be managed well, and probably no better way to start is to rectify an existing problem. We have tested the relationship a little with the fact that we're not a conventional company in the sense that we only have 1 or 2 offices. We have, I'll say, 4 or 5 staff that work remotely. So that's been a challenge to maintain the services. Some of the staff could be classed as being IT challenged, so that's something that ProNet's had to deal with and has taken in their stride fairly well, I think, and resolved those issues when they've arisen. Working with ProNet has been a very positive experience for us. We have seen an improvement to what we saw as being the standard to where it is now, is from the previous provider to now. We're getting a far better level of service, and the most important thing there, I think, is that the level of service has been consistent from day one through to today. If we've compare it to having an internal IT department, I don't see any negatives from the relationship we have with ProNet. We know the staff who we're dealing with on a regular basis. They know who we are. I've worked in large multinationals where we had 100 plus IT staff departments who we didn't get the level of service out of that we're currently getting at present. So that I think that's a good indication that we're looking after our interests, having the relationship we do with ProNet.